Well, today I want to talk with you about the song Lily Dreams On from our Kontiki track expose. I've talked somewhat about this when I was doing the initial Kontiki deep dive back. I think that was in the summer of 2019, although I could be wrong. It seems like that. Anyway, so this song, and I'll get to the track study here directly. But this song was really part of the second body of work that ended up comprising Kontiki. Right after Cotton is King, I didn't write anything worth a damn much, I don't think. I was casting about, I was looking for the next thing, and it was a hard record to figure out what to do with after the fact because, it hadn't had success. And so that's discouraging, and I thought there were problems with Cotton is King. And I was really feeling it in terms of thinking I don't like a lot of things about that record. I want to do something different. It took me a while to find my footing, and I believe I want to say the first song where I found it was maybe Vegetable Row in the summer of 1995, which I followed with several others, but My Before and After was in there and Homefront Cameo, so that by the time we went to Japan in 95 in November, those were songs that we were messing around with as a band, either at Soundcheck or I want to say we played maybe a Homefront Cameo live. I can't remember. At any rate, the next grouping of material began coming to me in '96, and a lot of it came in a fairly condensed period of time. And Lily Dreams On was in the back part of that. I remember sitting down one night and playing that figure on the guitar, the la da 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 da, the signature thing on my acoustic guitar, and the song fell out rather quickly. And the inspiration for the song was really just thinking about how my sister had a daughter, and knowing how named Olivia, which was my mother's name, and knowing how much my mother really had wanted to survive to have that experience of being there to meet her first granddaughter. And of course, she didn't make it by a long shot. She passed away long before that, but she would have loved to have met her granddaughter, and got me reflecting a lot upon her passing and parental love for their children, and how the people who would have been most heartbroken to see her suffering would have been her own parents. And so, in this interesting way, it's hard to talk about something that heavy in a song. I probably had tried a few times, and just it's got to be right. It's got to be natural. It can't be forced. It's got to have some lyrical deftness in order to pull it off. However it came about for me, I found myself thinking about my mother from the perspective of her own parents. If we can get rid of time and space, they were maybe thinking they were there, comforting her when she was suffering. So I write it to her as if she's a little girl and she's sick, and her parents are there comforting her. And I think that's, the older I get, the more I realize how true that sort of thing is. That even though we get older, our relation to our parents never really changes, who they are to us, and how much when they're old and they pass away, it's the child in us that's heartbroken. Just like there's no one who loves us the same way our parents did. It's a very special love, or at least if you're lucky. And in my case, I was very gifted to have parents who adored me, and I can attribute most of the success in my life to that. I feel like with what I was given in terms of family love as a child, being anything short of accomplished and confident in life would be inexcusable. So, yeah. Anyway, that was the way in. And the references you hear in that song, I remember the song came out very quickly, and I loved it when, put down your King James Bible, you don't need no kings. That's my favorite line in the song. She was a very devout Presbyterian who grew up in this very sort of stiff Presbyterian household. Her uncle was the superintendent of Virginia schools. Her father was. Her uncle was the governor. And she grew up in this very austere, sort of conservative Virginia world. but she really, by the time she was an adult, she was this very liberal-minded, service-oriented person, raising 5 kids in Alabama. She went a long way from the world that she grew up in, but St. Catherine's was the school she went to, so Fields of Catherine. And she told me a story once about how when her Uncle Bill would come over, one time Uncle Bill told her, Lily was her childhood name, and Uncle Bill, she had loved her Uncle Bill, and Uncle Bill one time said to her, Lily, you look so beautiful. And she may have shared this story with me when she was sick. But Uncle Bill one time noticed her, told her she was beautiful, and so she said whenever Uncle Bill came over, before he got there, she would go outside, and he said something about her coloring being just radiant. So she told me whenever Uncle Bill would come to visit, she would go run around the house as many times as she could to try to get herself flushed so that he would notice her again. Just heartbreaking stories like that. So that's where I get the pull the mirrors down, coming to the house line. Pull the mirrors down, take away the glass, and let the past be gone. It's just a sweet song about how perfect you were. The music to that song was very, very natural. Those chord changes are very simple but very effective. The way the notes landed, I never thought about it. I probably would have showed it to Whit first. I'm almost certain I did. If anyone else, I would have showed it to maybe George. But Whit picked up the line on my guitar line, which he plays. Probably played it initially on his SG when we worked on it, and then by the time we were out at Joe McDermott's in Leander, Joe had a gut string guitar out there. Or Whit may have brought his, I don't remember. But it sounded so good on the gut string, on the classical guitar, we used that. And it came about just all in one afternoon, on a Saturday afternoon when we were out there. Maybe we got out there early in the day and ate some fried chicken and drank Budweiser, and we knocked out that song. I just put down the acoustic guitar. You'll hear when you hear the track kind of how it came together. But there was a click track to it, and this is going to be one of the surprises that you encounter on this. Initially, we put it down to a drum beat because I thought it was going to be a little like the Hit Shack version of Spin My Wheels. They could have Dana driving it because we'd already recorded Spin My Wheels and acoustically and decided that was going to be the definitive version. So I was still thinking, well, maybe on this one, on this ballad, we bring in the drums. And there is what you're going to hear. Dana did a drum track. I'd totally forgotten about that, but I recorded him out there in the country, and he sounds incredible. It's Dana. I might do a remix of that song with Dana's drums. Don't anybody beat me to that. That's mine. But you'll have the tracks. It's wonderful. So that afternoon, before Dana came out, it's just myself on the acoustic with the drum beat. Whit overdubs his classical. And then I started playing around on the organ. I'm sure I did a scratch vocal, if not the final vocal. It sounds very, very casually tossed off. It is definitely the Beta Shure 57. It's not a big fancy mic. It's just this muffly little mic. And same with Whit's Harmony, which is gorgeous. And then I started messing around on Joe's M1 organ, which is out there, which is all over Kontiki. And it was fun. I came up with this the ascending line, and then had the idea, hey, what if we double that with your EBow? And Whit had EBow in his arsenal at that point. He got out the EBow. I don't think that's something that's very easy to do, and I remember thinking, I wonder if that's possible, and he absolutely nails it, doubling that the ascending line. And when I talk about Pet Sounds being an inspiration, one of the things that's inspirational for me about Pet Sounds is how they married instruments that didn't often go together. And I thought EBow with the little M3, the Hammond organ, that's a unique sound I haven't heard before. Let's try that. So we tried the Dana drums. We deemed them not quite what we wanted, or I did. And then just did the Oz, the background vocals, and that was where it was at when it goes to Brad's. And one day when Brad was messing around on another song, I pulled out the little play school he had. He had a closet full of toys and sound-making things, And I pulled out that little Play School box with all the little noisemakers, the dial and the ding ding thing. I'll see if I can find a picture of one and post it up there. And that's what I'm playing. It's a little Play School rhythm kit for children, or rhythm station, or whatever they called the thing. I'll post a picture of it. And that's at the end, and then Brad takes the vocals and runs them through a Leslie. It's a beautiful mix that he did of that song. I think it's probably my favorite song on Kon-Tiki in some respects. I think that one, just the way it hits me. It's very personal, of course, and I've told you why it's very personal. But it just kind of felt effortless when you're in that space that I found myself in, and that Whit and Dana and George and Darren were all a part of. There was something bigger than me driving all this. I really felt that. And it seemed like anything we touched was gold. And Lily Dreams On is as good an example of that as anything. It's like it just made itself, and I was there riding the wave. So I look forward to doing the track share with you. But that's the story of Lily Dreams On. A song we rarely play live. A song that got a lot of attention. Rob Thomas loved that song and put it in his series Veronica Mars. In the season finale of the first season, Veronica Mars, Lily, the main character's name is Lily, which I'm guessing he staged all along so he could have that final scene. And that, that brought in a little bit of dough, which was nice, but that's also made Lily Dreams On the most played Cotton Mather song on YouTube and Spotify ever, which doesn't say a lot. It's not like an Adele track, is it? But it's nice that's the one that's ended up, by virtue of being in that show, it's gotten the most attention because it's probably better than Mr. Should having the most plays, which would make my head hurt. Okay, enough of that.